President Donald J. Trump visited McAllen this week to discuss what he is calling the border crisis issue. Following the president were Texas representatives, supporters, and protesters. And how exactly can we help? Well, you can start by switching to metal straws to replace plastic, carpooling to reduce pollution, and of course, recycle. Most classes involve studying for tests and writing essays. One anthropology class drops the typical classwork and instead is preserving a cemetery here in Edinburgh. Due to the threat of euthanization, the various animal shelters here hope that every cat and dog can go to a good home. Although opposition is strong, Whole Women's Health of McAllen puts an extensive effort to make sure that their patients get the proper treatment. Climate change. It's a term we hear a lot. Environmental issues like these affect everything from record high temperatures to deforestation. But how much of this is man-made and how much is just the Earth's natural cycles? And what can we do to help? Well, we might have the answers. Each animal here is in the market for a new home, and you can make that happen for them. For more info, check out your local PETSMART or any animal shelter nearby. Reporting for UTRGV-TV from Harlingen, I'm Nathaniel Puente, and this is Benji. Residents of the Rio Grande Valley might not be familiar with the area's role in the Civil War, but the work done by the CHAPS program looks to change that. Now let's get you caught up in the latest in UTRGV sports. And you might be asking yourself, why does he have a broom? Well, that's because UTRGV went into the desert and took a 3-game sweep of Grand Canyon. Sports. And yes, the broom is back. And you know what that means. UTRGV took a 3-game sweep of another WAC opponent. This time it was Seattle U. The first, and I want to start this sportscast out with a tribute to the number 4. 4, the number of years it should ideally take you to finish college. 4, the age I was when all my dreams were unfortunately crushed. 4, the month of April. 4, the number of times consecutively that UTRGV has beaten WAC opponents in baseball series. Probably the coolest thing about the UTRGV Brownsville campus is this bridge that rolls across the Resaca here. And it kind of mirrors how in Brownsville we have a bridge that crosses over from the United States to Mexico. De inglés a español, UTRGV lo tiene todo. For the first time since 2006, a sitting president visited the Rio Grande Valley. President Donald Trump landed in McAllen on Thursday to travel to the border. Accompanying the president were several Texas politicians such as Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and various local leaders. Also in the area were supporters and protesters who lined 10th Street hoping to make their voice heard. The UTRGV Brownsville campus is home to an abundance of wildlife. With the amount of birds, lizards, and insects roaming around, you might think you are in a wildlife sanctuary rather than a university. To preserve this ecological image, UTRGV has committed efforts to provide nests for red-crowned parrots, an endangered bird native to the Rio Grande Valley and northeastern Mexico.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to have the birds breeding here on campus. I think it's an extremely unique opportunity to sort of involve students as well as local community members.
Dr. Carl Berg specializes in ornithology and spearheaded the project to build the nesting tubes around campus. He says red-crowned parrots have been endangered for decades.
Since the early 90s, we knew they were in a lot of trouble. The reason has to do with their original distribution was very small to begin with. There's been a lot of happening.
Some UTRGV students have to take the shuttle between the two campuses every day. It's an exhausting experience that takes 2.5 hours round trip. But for one TSC student, getting to class is a lot harder than that.
That's fine.
This is Joseph Haas, a student at TSC who has had to walk countless miles during his time in college to get to the iTech building, a center that hosts classes for those seeking information technology degrees like Joseph. Why doesn't Haas just take a shuttle to the iTech building? TSC does not provide one. Haas has tried countless times to bring this issue to administration.
I went to the Student Services Center, and they had me file a complaint, which the lawyers completely denied, not even a single apology.
Pro-choice and pro-life demonstrators gathered in front of Whole Women's Health of McAllen to express their beliefs over the abortion issue.
Regardless, if someone doesn't want a pregnancy, they're going to try and terminate it.
I know that biblically speaking, it's wrong, Murder is wrong. We don't want to do that.
All of this amidst a recent decision by the New York Senate to change the state's abortion laws. The bill states an abortion may be performed at any time if it is necessary to protect a patient's life or health. For the pro-life group, it was their annual Walk of Life, a religiously charged event that shows support for their side.
The child in the mother's womb is a product of love. It's a gift of God. And that child, person in the womb, is another human being.
The event fell on the 15th anniversary of Whole Women's Health in McAllen. The center's president, Amy Hagstrom Miller, came down for the anniversary and told us why safe abortion services are vital. On an average day, the Hidalgo Public Cemetery is lonely, quiet, and eroded. Every Friday, however, an anthropology class takes place with the goal of cleaning and preserving the cemetery.
So the work that the class is doing is trying.
Dr. Sarah Rowe guides the class as they label unmarked graves, map the area, and set up an online database for the public to see.
So this is actually the third semester of the class, but we've inventoried over 1,000 graves. We've identified close to 50 unmarked graves.
The Hidalgo Public Cemetery operated from 1913 to the mid-1990s. The cemetery's eroded state is a result of years of abandonment. Across the 1,000 graves present are stories just waiting to be told.
Well, every single person here has a story that connects them to the community. And if we forget about the people that are buried there, we lose all of those connections.
Although many of the graves are tattered and dismantled, their stories are nonetheless important. Dr. Rowe's anthropology course hopes to give every grave its proper care. Reporting for UTRGV-TV from Edinburgh, I'm Nathaniel Puente. Cats and dogs got a chance at a new home with PETSMART's National Adoption Weekend. Local shelters provided potential pet owners a closer look at the animals. Dogs eagerly greeted each passing visitor and got the chance to walk around. The dogs loved the attention at the event, but the goal was to get them in the hands of a new owner.
They euthanize in Harlingen probably between 40 to 60 animals a day. And so for every animal that we can pull out of the shelters and find a home for, we're saving that life.
Due to the threat of euthanization, the various animal shelters here hope that every cat and dog can go to a good home.
The cats, meanwhile, were a bit more relaxed as visitors gazed through a plastic shield. Each feline desperately hopes someone can take them home for a better life, or at least pay for some cat food. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, is a policy in place to help undocumented students attend college. To qualify for DACA, students must be under the age of 31 as of 2012, have lived in the United States since 2007, came to the United States when they were under 16, and several other strict factors.
So I have to keep a certain GPA.
Lisbeth Lopez, a DACA student, told us about the struggles of being in the program.
What's some discrimination you have faced as an undocumented student?
A lot of people say, like, why did your parents, well, not me in particular, but why did these people bring their children here?
The Liverpool Legends, a tribute band to the Beatles, made their way down to Harlingen to celebrate the music of the Fab Four. I got the chance to come together with the Beatles, or the Liverpool Legends, and asked what their goal is as a tribute band.
You know, we're fans of it, like I said, like you guys are, so we're just trying to do it with respect and have lots of fun. And
as for the show itself, it was the full Beatles experience. The first half of the show is dedicated to early Beatles material from Please Please Me to Revolver. Later, the band appeared decked out in Sgt. Pepper attire and played some of the Beatles' psychedelic material off Magical Mystery Tour and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Finally, the show closed with some songs from the Beatles' last albums. After a hard day's night, it was time to say goodnight. And of course, I had to ask their favorite Beatles albums and songs.
Rubber, Soul, and Revolver.
All of them. I don't want to pick one because as soon as I pick one, then I'll listen to a different one tomorrow and it'll be that one.
Yeah, pick two. No, I like the White Album. I think things were getting cozy there. Things were getting interesting.
Roles reversed in the middle of the interview as they decided to ask me why I enjoyed the show.
So how did you like the show? Was it all right?
It was absolutely spectacular.
The Liverpool Legends have played in the RGV 6 years in a row and will return again next January. You You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and anywhere across the universe.